Happy Thursday, everybody. Captain Marty here again. Glad you're coming back if you've been here before. If not, we're going to try to paint a fishing picture for you in just a moment.
Teachers Lair Marina in Hatteras Village is the closest spot on the Outer Banks to the Gulf Stream. Just inside Hatteras Inlet, Teachers Lair is fully loaded with bait, tackle, ice, snacks, and drinks for your fun-filled day out on the water. Want to get rigged up to catch the big one? Lee and the gang in the tackle shop can outfit you to catch whatever is eager to get hooked. To see the marina, the tackle shop, or to book a charter, go online to teacheslair.com. Teachers Lair Marina in Hatteras Village. Your fishing venture awaits.
Real. That's the first word that comes to mind when I think about Outland Seafood in Mans Harbor. Yeah, they're the first and last place you see coming to and leaving the Outer Banks on Highway 64 in Dare County, but they're also real when it comes to fresh local seafood. Troy Outland, real. Curtis and Josh, real. The indoor crab shedders, real. Stop by and see for yourself right next to White Shopping Center and check them out on social media. Outland Seafood in Mans Harbor, real.
Yesterday, we got pretty much everybody out fishing. It was good fishing, and especially in some places, it was very, very good. Now, down in Hatteras, they continue to have fishing that's very similar day after day with a nice mixture of things for the offshore guys. The mahi. I'm stuck on whether to call them mahi or dolphin. They are dolphin fish, green and yellow fish, not mammals. Politically correct way to call them is mahi, but they have had some good catches of those, mostly bailers, which are the smaller ones. They've had some blackfin tunas, and not the big fat ones like they get from time to time. A scattered wahoo in their catches, and still a good blue marlin bite going on down there, sometimes very good. And that's great with our tournaments getting ready to get kicked off again. The Big Rock tournament coming up, the Hatteras Marlin Club tournament coming up, a lot of stuff going on there. They also had boats doing some inshore fishing. They're still catching cobia. They're still catching big bluefish. Around the inlet, they're catching some Spanish mackerel, and there's still an occasional drum being caught. Sometimes if they run into a school of those ones that have been hanging around Cape Point at night and they mill around out there in the hook or wherever, these guys will run into them and do some catch and release big red drum fishing. At Oregon Inlet yesterday, a very, very good day of yellowfin tuna fishing. The numbers were good. Some boats were turning early with a box full of 75 to 85 pound yellowfin tuna. I mean, really a nice class. The average is probably 50, 55 pounds, but they're getting some big ones up into the 90s, really. And that is not a guarantee. It's not an everyday thing, but it was really good yesterday. And they also had a different type of tuna we don't talk a whole lot about, which would be the big eyes. They average 1 to 300 pounds, and the ones yesterday were in the 150 pound range. So that was really good. They also had several blue marlin flags flying released. About 99% of the blue marlin are released, and there was a couple of white marlin caught yesterday. Not much happening with the mahi fishing for them, but primarily because they were focused on the yellowfin tuna, and it was great. So when you have that many tuna, you come to the dock, you got a job getting them cleaned, and I highly recommend the professional fish cleaning services when you're talking about that kind of volume. And so that was good. They had a few cobia yesterday. They also had some big bluefish around the inlet for our inshore boats. So that was good. Surf fishing remained consistent. Cape Point in the evenings, they're still catching drum there. That according to our sponsor, Red Drum Tackle. Also, they reported some blues, some Spanish mackerel, some sea mullet, and something I haven't talked about personally this year is some pompano in some of the surf catches. And that holds pretty much true for all of our beaches. It's a nice mix right now. It's really one of the best times of year to go surf fishing, or you could jump out on the piers. The Rodanthe Pier had a good bite of sea mullets, and that's encouraging, because they've been, especially out on the end of the pier, they've been doing really well on the sea mullet bite. That's a really fine eating fish as well. Almost everything I've talked to you about so far, great to eat. And there's a few pups and a few specks in the surf, along with some small sharks, a few spots, and a few croakers. So you got a lot of stuff happening on the surf and pier fishing. I will be back in just a moment and tell you about that speckled trout bite that's going on back in the sound, so stay right here.
Come and experience fishing for the whole family aboard the Crystal Dawn at Pirates Cove Marina in Manteo. The Crystal Dawn is a roomy 65-foot headboat fully equipped with the latest gear to give you the best fishing experience. Worried about getting seasick? Fear not. The Crystal Dawn stays in safer and shallower waters to lessen the likelihood of that happening. Half-day and private fishing trips are available. To find out more, go online to crystaldawnheadboat.com. The Crystal Dawn Headboat out of Pirates Cove. Fishing that is fun for all ages.
The Backcountry Report. That's the Pamlico Sound, the Croatan Sound, the Roanoke Sound, all the sounds. Speckled trout bite is good. I don't know any other way to say it. It's good, encouraging. I think the limit's 4 per person, and a lot of boats are limited out. A lot of people are letting them go, especially the big ones that are full of rows. So speckled trout bite remains good, and where we were talking about primarily boat type of fishing, we're now hearing a lot of reports about wading or walking anglers doing well on all kinds of places. The Bebop Pier, which is over at the far end of the Old Man's Harbor Bridge, or the Umstead Bridge as it's officially known, has been a good spot. Little Bridge has been producing some speckled trout. We have a lot of the wading spots around Roanoke Island and the backside of Hatteras Island also producing speckled trout. So when you add all that together with our friend Ricky Radcliffe, another one of my longtime sponsors over in Belhaven on the western sound, they're still catching them over there, along with some puppy drum. It's a good showing over a wide area. You remember in the earlier part of today's report, we talked about them catching a few on the piers and in the surf as well. So just about anywhere you go, you got a good chance at a speckled trout, and that's a good thing. So all that is happening in the sounds. There's also some of the other stuff we've been talking about every day. There's some sheephead around structure, and actually I think we're going to have another great year on the sheephead fishing. There's also some bluefish back there and some black drum. So keep that in mind. Go out with a professional guide, go out on your own boat, or go wading. You know, you're not going to catch them sitting in front of your TV watching a fishing show on television. So go out and make an effort. And I'm preaching to the choir. That's what I need to do as well. And I'm going to do that. I found a new spot I want to try, and I'll keep you posted on how that works. And finally, yesterday we told you some alternatives to offshore charter fishing, which is a great way to go. That's the gold standard. But it's more than a lot of people can afford, or, it's tough for a lot of reasons, especially not having a full group. But one thing, if you're here on the Outer Banks this week, you have kids and family, why don't you go to any major marina and ask about a Waterman charter? A Waterman charter is where a very nice, well-equipped boat with a licensed captain, and sometimes a licensed captain and mate, will go out there for a 2 to 4 hour trip. And 2 to 3 hours is the normal trip. So it's not real long. You take your kids out. Kids will love this trip. You can bring up to a total of 6 people. That's a firm rule. And you go out there and they will show you what it's like to be a working waterman. And we have a history of that in our area. You'll pull crab pots. You might pull a shrimp net as we're getting into shrimping season, getting ready to start. You might, you could do any number of things, really. You might explore a sand island. There's just a lot of things that you can do. It's called a Waterman charter. I just wrote a nice article about that in my new fishing guide, which is available all over the Outer Banks right now. So you can check out that. But that is today's recommendation for something outside of the mainstream of offshore Gulf Stream fishing. So yesterday we talked about makeup charters. Today we talked about Waterman charters, and we'll have more stuff to offer you as the week continues, and we'll tell you about some other alternatives. So keep all that in mind, and thank you for stopping by and listening, and we'll keep you posted if anything changes. Have a great day.